So every year I make a family yearbook with pictures from throughout the year, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things. It's kind of like my way of contributing to our family visual legacy. So today I'm going to show you and give you a little sneak peek into how I design these spreads, how I pick the images, and how I design creatively and artistically, even sometimes when the images that I'm working with aren't. Hey there, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Katelyn. I'm so excited that you're here. This is a place where we love to empower photographers to build profitable and purposeful businesses while also letting you see a little behind the scenes of our everyday life. So I always do a family album every single year. I take images from my DSLR because I'm a photographer. I love shooting my family with my real camera. We've actually done videos on like how to teach photographers to use their camera more at home and to enjoy their family with their camera. So there's videos on that. And there's videos about this process somewhat, but I've never actually shown you how I pick the images, how I design the spreads, and how I actually create the book. So while I'm working on my 2020 family book, I'm going to let you in behind the scenes and see what it looks like to actually put together the spreads. And I want to give you some tips along the way so it can be helpful for you to learn how I take images that sometimes aren't even that pretty. They're not even that photogenic. They're like of a messy house, but kids are playing. How do I take images like that, but piece them together and use them in an artistic way to make beautiful spreads that are visually pleasing to the eye? So I'm excited to take you along for the journey. Let's go to my computer. All right, welcome to my computer screen. First of all, I am using a program called Smart Albums. And Smart Albums is a program I've had for years. Honestly, they haven't updated it. The company has not done an update in a while, and I just hope that the company's doing well and will continue. It is not the cheapest program to buy. I think it's a couple $100. And even though I think it's worth it just to do my family album or, maybe some sample albums every year, there's other ways to make albums and there's other ways to build it out. So try to pay attention. If you don't use Smart Albums, at least pay attention to the tips and the tricks and the advice and the patterns that I'm using in order to lay out my family album. So we're just going to dive right in. Okay, I'm just going to dive right in. Why does this not work? Well, it doesn't work because in this image and in this image, the negative space is much greater than in these images. So I don't want to visually cluster together images of him, my son Graham, where they're zoomed in tight over here and visually they're pulled back here. So it's actually going to make our eyes and our brain and our visual interest, it's going to make that part of us happier when we glance at this spread to see, sorry, I need to restart my computer, I think, to see it like this. Because your eye goes from far back, zooms in, far back, zooms in. It also creates a wave of negative space. And waves of negative space are a really great way to take people across a page. So it starts here, focal point, focal point, focal point, and focal point. So there's a wave of negative space. Okay, let's move on to this one. Sometimes when I am scrolling through all the images in, a certain folder, I am looking for certain patterns. So I am looking for a dominant photo a lot of times. I'm also looking for patterns in color, patterns in close up, far away, patterns in black and white. And I'm trying to think, what can I pair together that will look creative and that will be visually pleasing? So like for this spread, I love this image of them laughing. I mean, it's just the cutest. But I knew that if I wanted to use that picture, and it was one of my favorite pictures from this month, then I'm going to want to have this spread to be somewhat simple. When I open this image printed on a 12 by 12 book, this page is just going to bring me so much joy. So I prefer less images per page unless I'm trying to really throw in a lot of memories all at once, and I'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about this page because what's happening here is interesting. So when I'm photographing my family, sometimes, honestly, the freedom that I feel when it comes to taking out my real camera is I don't have to take a lot. I can take a few and capture what's going on, and I want to do it and keep it lighthearted and keep it fun for me. The moment it becomes a burden to capture my family and what's going on, I just put my camera down and I stop trying to make it this perfect moment or this perfect image, because that's not what I want to remember when it comes to documenting my kids. So here's an example of that. I have, and you can kind of see, these are the images down here that I was picking from. All right, so we have a few of Graham walking. We have a few of Mimi and Evie watering the ferns on the front porch. And then we have Graham putting on tennis shoes for the first time with his dada, which is so sweet. I think all these things happen within a few days of each other. And so I don't have a ton of images. But I noticed a few things. One, there's kind of a similar color tone in all these because of his navy shirt and her navy shorts and Mimi's navy shorts. So there's like a navy color tone, all with hints of green. So there's green here, there's green behind Graham. I noticed a few other things, like there's some blue-gray tones from the gravel here, and he's got some blue-gray tones in his outfit. Now, this was taken inside. These are obviously outside. And I just thought to myself, you know what? I think I could piece these together, and I could piece these together in a way that visually would look really pretty. Now, I want you to pay attention. This is fascinating to me because I don't think about this when I'm designing. But now that I'm talking to you and I'm breaking down why I chose certain things, it's fascinating to think that there is a logical kind of mathematical explanation as to why I did this, but I didn't think about it mathematically or strategically. I just did what felt visually right. Our brains are just fascinating. So look at this. This is the dip. See the dip? Up and down. It's taken our eyes on a wave of negative space. So start focus point here, focal 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 point here. All right, so this right here, this dip of negative space building, and then kind of being sucked up because people are taking up more of the frames here, that is why this spread is easy to look at. Now let's look at this spread. Why does this not work right now? Because my eyes go to these two images. My eye starts comparing these two images. And to me, they don't look like super consistent edits because the light is a little bit different. And seeing them side by side makes you realize, oh, the grass is lighter here than it was here. And, oh, his skin looks more pink here than it did in this edit. How do I fix that? Also, I have a clump of like dark navy shirts here. When I squint, the spread looks heavy in this direction. Also, the negative space is exactly the same almost here, right? There's no visual dip here or composition to how our eye is coming across the page. It's just not great. So, but if I take this over here and I replace Evie, a zoomed out image of Evie, then all of a sudden I can't compare this edit to that edit. All of a sudden I have negative space that varies image to image, and it's more visually interesting. Also, which works in our favor, which was strategic, and I did think of this as I was selecting the images, is that there's a negative space right here and negative space right here. And why does that matter? Because think about what this is. This part of this image and this part of that image, it's going to be tucked into the crack. All right, so I put images here that have some negative space. All right, so I'm going to import some new images. We are now moving on to September 2020. Which has all been edited and done. First day of preschool. Let's do that. So we're going to open up the edited folder and we are going to select and import these images. If you are wondering how I approach taking family photos, there's a whole nother video on that. Now I'm looking down here and my thought is, all right, we got all vertical images. All of these images here have white backgrounds. And then I'm thinking all these images when I took Evie to Micah's house have green backgrounds. So, and they're all vertical. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take all the images that we want to include. Here's Evie already here. And we are going to build out another vertical spread and alternate white background and green background. All right, so I think this one's a cute one. We're going to add that there. I'm looking at what else do I want to build. I want this image of all of us to be in there. And then there's a few of just Micah and Evie. Let's see. That's a cute one. Gosh, they're cute. And this is just a great way to add in, like, look at that. Isn't that precious? I might zoom them in a little bit, right, like that. Maybe not too much, yeah. Perfect. Now I'm paying attention to, I kind of don't like that their heads are the same here. So I'm going to switch it here because I think there is a little bit, I think it's nice to kind of trail off with our heads there. I don't know if anyone else cares about that, but I do. So now that I have this here, I'm going to decide. I do wish that this was zoomed out more. Is there one zoomed out more? That one kind of is, but I just love them laughing. That one's a little more zoomed out, and they're both laughing. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I kind of like that better. It dips a little bit. We got a little bit of the wave going on. All right, so that one's done. Now we're going to go back to import. We're going to go back to the parent folder here. We did this folder last lake trip. All right, so we have all these images from our very last lake trip for the year. We're going to import them. Now, I will say a few things technically. This program does get bogged down. It always has. It can be a little bit slow once you hit the 50 spread mark. Now, if you're wondering, Katelyn, this says part 2. How in the world, how big are these books? They're huge. And normally it's one yearbook. But I will be honest, I have gone overboard, and I normally have 2 volumes each year. A part 1, part 2. I'm sure that will change as our kids get more and more demanding, but this year I was pregnant half the year, and I'm ending up with another 2 volume situation. So, all right, so I'm looking at all these images, and it's overwhelming because there are so many. So I'm going to work with the first part of this trip, and I know there's a few things that I want to add in. One is this image of Evie. I love it. That's definitely got to be in there. So I'm starting with the must-haves, and then I'm adding in things that will help it visually to look great. There's a few things I'm noticing too. There's a lot of red here. So maybe there's a way for me to, and there's a little bit of red on her pants here and on her collar. So I'm going to think through, can I use the red to be kind of like a tying color theme for this spread? So love that one of Michael and Graham. All right. And let's see. I mean, that's cute, but I think there's too many images that I like. Now this is interesting. So I love that picture of my mom and Evie, but the colors just don't seem to flow very well. So I'm not sure if we're going to use that. But we might. We never know. Let's see. Some of those other red shots, I don't know if, like, that's cute, but his eyes are closed. And that's cute, but it's too similar to that. So, Michael, you can see his gum in his mouth. I'm not going to do that one. I'm just going to take you along on this process. I also love this picture of Evie, another black and white. And the truth is, if I can't find another image with, like, that hint of red in it that I really love and think should be used, I may not use it. I may go a different route. So let's look at some of these other non-boat shots. This is Evie being silly with Uncle Jojo. Let's see what this starts to look like. But see, now we're getting into where there's green in this spread, so it's like, I don't know if that's worth it. Let's get rid of Dada and Graham. All right, I'm going to take that out. All right, now we're down to black and whites. And so now maybe we'll intersperse black and whites with some greens. That's cute of Micah, but oh, goodness. If I remember, oh, that is funny. That is a funny cousin picture. I think that should be included. Again, they're not all happy. Graham looks like he's screaming, but I think it's hilarious, and we're going to remember this so well when they're older. Anything else that I could use? Now we have a little hint of blue here, so that's something that I may want to pay attention to, that there's some blue accents. Now, I did love that shot of Evie and Graham trying to eat ice cream together. And we've got a little bit of blue. We've got the stripe thing going on and some green in the background, so maybe this will work in our favor. Let's see here. No. Now, no. I'm just looking for good pattern here. Let's see. Now, if I swap that with that, this would be too small in my opinion, but I like this a little bit better. This is kind of fun. So we've got Evie laughing like a crazy woman. I love it. Eating her ice cream. We got her and Jojo. We're going to get this in a square that fits nicely in a square. Have Evie's pretty face and them sharing their ice cream cone. That's okay. I kind of wish this was black and white and this was color. But I'm pretty sure this is going to look a little too cramped and you're not going to be able to see them on the edge. Yeah, you can't see Graham. Ooh, but I like the way that looks. I like that. So let's find another image for here and still kind of keep it in the same pattern. So there's Effie being crazy. There's Graham walking around in a diaper. Let's see here. Some of these beach photos, it starts to get into a different scenario, so I'm not going to do that. Graham just doesn't look happy in that photo, so we're not going to use that. I could put Micah in there. Oh, no, that is cute. Is that different enough, though? Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, it is pulled back. That's kind of nice. I could leave it like that to make it a little bit different. The green ties in. Maybe I'll leave this spread like this. I think it's kind of fun. You know what? No, this would be better if I put this here. Why? Because I'm going to separate the blues. And when you separate the blues, it visually makes your eye feel like this is a more put together spread. All right? I'm liking the way this is flowing. Perfect. Okay. I like that. Oh, this is going to be fun to see Evie. It's a beautiful picture of her. All right. So let's move on. Something else that I wanted to use. I remember this. This was so messy. All right. So we did this layout, simple pictures, but made it look, I think, more visually appealing than it naturally would if we just, threw images on a spread without any intention. Let's talk about one more spread, or one more tip, I guess would be better. I think it's important when you're looking through images, like all these images were shot on a beach with all the kids playing together. And I think it's important to go through them and think, like, even though I selected these and edited them, what are the top 3 that showcase personality that are going to make me remember what my kids were like? Like one of these of Evie, it's a must-have. Also, I just love this one of her. I maybe love it enough. Look how precious. Maybe love it enough to do full spread. Sometimes you just got to do full spread for one image because it's just so darn cute. Or 2. Sometimes if there are similar images with the exact same tones, I can do side by side. Oh my gosh, she is just adorable. Now, this is a great tip. If I was to do a page like with Evie on this, she needs to be on this side because here she's looking into the spine. But on this page, I don't really love that. I don't really love that there's negative space here, though. But let's see. I would zoom in one image to be much closer. That's better. Oh, now I love that. I'm going to leave that. I just think it's so cute. And I am going to cherish this one day when she is 16 years old and she doesn't look so cute and innocent. So anyway, all this to say, there are such great patterns and ways to take something that, could just be like throw the pictures together and get it done. But if you enjoy designing and you enjoy making things look really visually appealing, this is just my thought process, and I hope it helps you, whether it's to follow a negative spacing line that takes your eye up and down across the page, to paying attention to kind of like the ditch of the spine area, or whether it's separating colors so that colors aren't jumbled up in one area but instead carry you through, whether it's using black and whites to break up the complexity of a spread or alternating backgrounds. Just like this is another example of alternating backgrounds to make it more visually appealing. We got pool shots and we got like pavilion shots. And just making decisions about coloring and groupings that make everything look good together. The fact that I have Harper's dress in all these photos makes the whole thing look cohesive. And last but not least, picking images that you want to remember, right? Picking images that make you feel like, gosh, I want to remember what that felt like. It sounds awful that he's screaming and I want to remember him screaming. I just want to remember that that was the reality. So if Graham grows up one day and has a child who screams through every single swim lesson, I can be like, let's open up the 2020 book and show you what you looked like during your swim lesson. So I hope that's helpful. If you are someone who just longs to have a family yearbook, that's something you really want to do. It's something that I make a priority every single year, but my kids don't have baby books. I don't knit them blankets. I don't do anything else really except these books. This is my commitment to my family. So if that's you and you want to make a family yearbook for your family as well, we actually have a discount code to Blurb. Blurb Books is the company we use to print these books, and they've been gracious enough to give us a code. You can find that linked below. I'm so glad you tuned in. If this was helpful for you, if you enjoyed this, if you want to learn more about this process, leave that in the comments below. Any questions you have for us, but subscribe so you don't miss any other videos about this topic in the future, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.